In June, Kenya's under-17 women's team made history, becoming the first team, male or female, from the country to reach the finals of a FIFA World Cup. Months later, they are in the Dominican Republic, going through their final paces ahead of making their FIFA Women's Under-17 World Cup debut. The final squad of 23 players had a pre-tournament camp in Spain before traveling to the South American nation earlier this month. After winning all their friendlies, the Junior Starlets feel ready for the tournament.
It was good because it gave us morale. Those teams we played during preparations are teams that have played with other teams who have previously made it to the World Cup. So we are just testing ourselves to see where we are, and those friendlies show that we can actually make it.
We just had to perform. We had spoken as a team ahead of this World Cup preparation. We wanted to show our coaches that everything is okay and that we are taking in what they are teaching us and implementing, and also go and make our country proud.
Making the World Cup finals is a major turning point for women's football in the country, and coach Mildred Cheche agrees.
As a person, it will help shape my coaching skills and also the level of coaching. And also for the team, it will help their level of competition. And for the country, I think it will encourage more girls to play football. So it's a big step for all of us.
Being able to reach the finals seems like a big step already for the little-known football country. However, the real challenge lies ahead as they take on top countries at the tournament, a challenge the coach welcomes.
Being the first time in the World Cup, I think it's a big motivation for us, and being able to play against big countries that have qualified before, I think it's a great challenge for us as a team and also as a country to represent the flag.
Kenya will kick off their Group C campaign against England on October 18th before taking on North Korea 2 days later, after which they will round off their pool fixtures against Mexico on October 24th. Muturi, Kaibere, CGTN.
Meanwhile, Zambia arrived in the Dominican Republic on Thursday to start their final preparations for the Women's Under-17 World Cup. The Junior Princesses will be making a return to the tournament 10 years after making their debut at the 2014 edition in Costa Rica. In that edition, the Southern African country managed to win just one game and were knocked out in the group stage. The Zambians hope 6 days will be enough for them to acclimatize to the different weather, culture and time zone in the Caribbean. As they prepare to kick off their campaign against Brazil next Friday, the Princesses are aiming to do better than their previous performance.
Our aim for coming up with this team is to be able to deliver to the nation what is expected. Considering that women's football is on the rise, we do not want to bring anything away from the way football is going. So even as we go to the World Cup now for the second time as under-17, our aim is to set a better record than what was played last year. So every player that has been picked in this final squad deserves to be here, and we believe in them and they'll be able to deliver.
Right now, for more on the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, we are now once again pleased to welcome Nigerian journalist and anchor Onyinyechi Ogu Obaro, who joins us live from Lagos this hour. Onyinyechi, thank you for joining us. Let's talk about Nigeria first and foremost. A lot is expected from the Flamingos after they finished third 2 years ago. How far do you think they can go in the Dominican Republic this time around?
Thank you so much for the privilege to join you at this time. Yes, a lot to be expected from the Flamingos, who finished third in 2022 in the last edition in India for the Under-17 Women's World Cup. Now, this finish, we expect more like Oliver Twist. The team, yes, has been known to be a very successful side when it comes to youth competition on the global stage. Nigeria, of course, has been to every single edition of this competition since its inception in 2008. So a lot to be expected from them. There are a lot of factors that I think is working in their favor at this time. We have the early campaign for the girls. They've been able to acclimatize with themselves, the team, the bonding over there for the squad that has been selected by the coach of the side. Also, we have continuity for the team. Coach Olowokere Bankole was the coach who tutored them to that third place finish in 2022 and is still with the team, handling the team. 90% of these players who are applying their trade for the under-17 side are from the Nigerian Women's Football League, and the coach also plies his trade for Niger Rattles in the Nigerian Women's Football League. So he understands these players, and they also understand him and who understand the language he's speaking. Nigeria's got a high-pressing side. Yes, we saw the way they scored so many goals in the qualifiers. 25 goals, a record-breaking feat. And 12 goals from that 25 came from one single player, Harmony Chidi, who will also be part of the squad. So we are expecting more than that from them. Their opener against New Zealand, who were also third-place finishers in 2008, should be a match-for-match, like-for-like situation. So the Nigerians should be able to announce themselves as one team to be favourites to go all the way in the competition.
Right, let's talk about Zambia now. They are, of course, returning to the Under-17 tournament after 10 years away. And they did travel this week, as we heard earlier, after solving their visa issues. Will the late departure there affect the Copper Princesses?
It's a disappointing news to hear that, but I expected so much from the Federation. This competition was announced a long time, giving you enough time to prepare for their visas and travel preparations. So I expected more from the Federation. Their first game should start off on October 16, so I think they've got enough time to engage other teams in Dominican Republic that are still in the build-up process for 1 or 2 friendlies to get themselves in tune with the mission for the Under-17 Women's World Cup. Zambia are a side that would like to announce themselves 10 years. After 10 years, they are back into the competition. The Federation should have been able to know that this is one of a kind, returning back to the competition after leaving the group stage in 2014. If you ask me, I would say Zambia are in a group of death. You know what they say about Group D? They've got 2014 champions, Japan, in the mix, and Brazil, who finished in quarterfinals for 2010, 2012, and also 2022. They have their work cut out for them, but I'm sure they should be able to shake off that hitches from the visas and go all the way to make a back in the competition.
Right, we're almost out of time here on Onyinyechi. Very quickly, Kenya's Harambee Stars are one of the 4 teams making their Under-17 World Cup debut. What can Africa and their fans back home realistically expect from these teams?
A Cinderella run, nothing but a Cinderella run. You know, Kenya, enjoying from the dividends of having to grow women's football, intentionally. I remember in 2021, when the Football Kenyan Federation did come up with that initiative for women's football strategy, and that gave the senior women's team a boost into that 2016 WAFCON and the 2019 the CAF championship. So it's an intentional, initiative from the Football Kenya Federation. Also, FIFA came up with something beautiful to just add icing to the cake. In 2023, they came up with a women's football campaign strategy, also has helped them. So it's a broader look for Kenya, who will be making their debut in that competition. Yes, they've got England to face up with. England, a very good side in their group. But I'm expecting nothing but a Cinderella run. It's a broader picture to see that East Africa will be represented at the competition this year. This has been the want and also the desire of every East African football lovers, because we've seen East Africa having to lag behind the West, the South in women's football. But this time around, Kenya announcing themselves. I cannot wait for what they can bring to the table. A Cinderella run, that's what I'm waiting for. All
right, a Cinderella run is what you promised. Onyinyechi, we will keep you and of course, be keeping an eye out for that Cinderella run that you are promising us. Onyinyechi Ogu Obaro, thank you very much for speaking to us from Lagos, Nigeria. Well, the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup is a biennial international women's football tournament established back in 2008. DPRK won the first tournament held in New Zealand by beating the United States 2-1 after extra time. They went to win the title again in 2016. Back-to-back champions Spain are the only other nation to win the tournament twice in 2018 and the last edition in 2022. South Korea, France and Japan round off the 5 countries who've lifted the Under-17 World Cup with a win each. The 2020 edition was cancelled due to the coronavirus pandemic. Now, the 2024 tournament will be hosted by the Dominican Republic in its first FIFA competition. 16 teams will feature, with 4 making their debuts. They are African side Kenya, hosts Dominican Republic, Ecuador and Poland. Now, this year's edition will be the last 16-team tournament before it expands to 24. It will also be the final edition to be held every 2 years, as it will become an annual event from 2025 onwards.